All right, let's talk about a huge financial moment. Maybe one of the biggest you'll hit. What in the world do you do with your first $10,000? And I'm not just talking about stashing it away. I'm talking about turning that cash into a powerhouse asset that actually starts working for you.
So you did it. You hustled and you saved up 10 grand. Seriously, take a second and pat yourself on the back. That's a massive achievement. It brings this incredible sense of security. But then comes the big question, right? Now what? Just letting it sit there in the bank feels safe, but is it really the smartest thing you can do?
And this right here is the whole ballgame. Getting this next step right can literally set the course for the rest of your financial life. But doing nothing or making the wrong move, that could mean missing out on tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars down the road. The stakes are really high, so let's make sure we get it right.
Okay, so the very first decision you have to make really boils down to a simple choice. Are you going to be a saver or are you going to be an investor? I know they sound kind of similar, but believe me, the difference in where you end up is night and day.
So let's break it down. On one hand, you've got a savings account. Right now, you might get around 4%. And yeah, it feels totally safe and sensible, but let's be honest, that money is being kind of lazy. Now, compare that to a diversified investment portfolio. That just means your money is spread out across a whole bunch of companies. Historically, that's averaged closer to 8%. See the difference? That is putting your money to work.
And this is where it gets really crazy over the long run. I mean, look at this. After just 1 year, the difference is pretty small. You barely notice it. But fast forward 10 years, the investor's 10 grand has turned into more than $21,000, while the saver is sitting on less than 15. Now let's jump ahead to year 20. I mean, it's not even a competition anymore. The investment has exploded to over $46,000. And that all came from one single smart decision, way back at the beginning.
So what's the magic behind this? It's a little thing called compound interest. It's actually a pretty simple idea. The money your investments make starts making its own money. It's just like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts out tiny, but it just keeps picking up more and more snow, getting bigger and faster exponentially. This right here is why starting early is the single greatest advantage you will ever have.
Now, as if missing out on all that growth wasn't bad enough, there's also this invisible thief that's constantly eating away at the money you have sitting in cash, and its name is inflation. You see it every day. It's why your groceries and your rent just keep getting more expensive.
Just think about it like this. The stuff you could have bought for $10,000 back in 1990 would cost you almost 25 grand today. So even if your savings account is inching up a little bit each year, the actual buying power of your money, what you can do with it, is very likely going down. Investing isn't just about getting rich. It's your best defense to simply outrun inflation and grow your real wealth.
Okay, I'm guessing by now you're thinking, all right, I'm sold. Investing is the move. But the next question is, how in the world do you actually do it without getting completely overwhelmed? Don't worry. We're going to break it down into a super simple step-by-step plan.
Before you even think about investing a single cent, you absolutely have to build a solid foundation. First things first, your emergency fund. This is 3 to 9 months worth of your essential living expenses, parked in a savings account you can get to easily. It's your financial safety net. It's what lets you sleep at night. Second, you have got to attack any expensive debt, especially credit cards. Look, there's no point earning 8% in the market if you're paying 20% on a credit card. It's like trying to run a race with an anchor tied to your leg.
Once that foundation is rock solid, it is game time. Let's invest. And you want to start with the absolute no-brainers. Does your job offer a pension or 401k with a company match? You take it. That is a 100% return on your money instantly. It is literally free money. After that, look at tax-advantaged accounts. In the US, that's something like a Roth IRA. Then, for what to actually invest in, keep it boring, keep it simple. Broad index funds are your best friend. And finally, the secret weapon. Automate the whole thing. Set it and forget it.
So when I say index funds, what am I even talking about? Well, an S&P 500 fund basically lets you own a tiny piece of the 500 biggest companies in America. An all-world fund does the same thing, but for the whole planet. They're both fantastic places to start. But here's a pro tip, and this is crucial. Pay attention to the fees.
A fraction of a percent might not sound like much, but over decades it can cost you thousands. Oh, and why funds instead of, say, buying a house? It's simple. The barrier to entry is way lower, it's way more hands-off, and you can start today.
Now, knowing the X's and O's of investing is one thing. That's half the battle. But honestly, the other half is all psychological. It's about winning the battle that takes place in your own head and avoiding the mental traps that cause so many new investors to stumble. And the single biggest mistake of them all is just not starting. It's that fear of doing it wrong, that feeling that you don't know enough, that keeps your money parked on the sidelines, missing out on years of that precious, precious compounding.
Does this sound familiar? Yeah, I'm going to start. I just need to read one more book. Or I'll get to it once I feel totally ready. Look, I get it. It's your hard-earned money and you don't want to mess it up. But waiting for the perfect moment means you are wasting the most powerful tool you have: time. Let me show you exactly what that waiting costs you. If you invest that 10 grand at age 25, it could grow to over $100,000 by the time you're 60. But if you wait just 10 years and start at 35, that same 10 grand only grows to about $68,000. That 10-year delay just cost you more than $30,000. Poof, gone. The lesson couldn't be clearer. Time in the market beats timing the market. Every single time.
The next trap is chasing shiny objects. You hear about some hot new stock or some crypto coin that's going to the moon. You get that FOMO, that fear of missing out. But listen to me. Good investing is supposed to be boring. It's consistent and repetitive. Chasing hype is one of the fastest ways to lose your money. And there's actually a name for why this happens. It's a funny quirk of the brain called the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's basically when knowing a little bit about something makes you feel like an expert. You think you can pick the winners, but in reality, that early confidence can be incredibly dangerous. And here we are, at maybe the most expensive mistake of them all: panic selling. The market takes a nosedive, your stomach drops, your gut is screaming, "Sell, get out before it goes to zero." And so you sell, locking in your losses at the absolute worst possible time.
When the market is down, that's just a temporary loss on paper. It doesn't become a real loss until you hit that sell button. The smartest investors, they stay calm. And you know what gives them the superpower to stay calm? That emergency fund we talked about. That foundation lets your logical brain stay in charge, not your panicked emotional brain. Whew. Okay, that was a lot of information, I know. We talked about why you should invest, the step-by-step plan for how to do it, and the big mistakes to avoid. So let's just boil it all down. If you remember nothing else from this, remember these 5 core takeaways.
Here's your cheat sheet. Number 1, build your house on a rock with an emergency fund. Number 2, get rid of that expensive debt. 3, grab that free and tax-free money from pensions and special accounts. 4, automate everything so you don't have to think about it. And number 5, the most important rule of all, start now. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to begin. Trust me, your future self is going to be so grateful you did. That first $10,000 you saved, it's more than just money. It's a launch pad. It has the potential to grow and compound into something that can genuinely change your life, but only if you give it the chance to get to work. So the only real question left is, are you ready to let it